there's a lot of ways of making a connection through music. Of course, making it, we've all sat with great records that, you play and it takes you to a time, takes you to a point, in your life and all that sort of stuff. But there's something about the live performance, especially for me, it's sort of like the first connection. It's for me, it's where I built my career on live performance. Coaches, we used to do 8 shows a week before we got signed. So there's something about trying to get to touch people and to connect with people. It has an urgency and it has a rawness about it. I find that when I perform live, I sing better. And it's not showing off. It's using that connection that you see in people's eyes and in their hearts, and it makes you push yourself to do things that you can't normally do. So I think as a group, it was like that thing about standing on each other's shoulders. As a group, we're capable of much more than we are on our own. The guys who have been setting up shows and driving trucks and I think a lot of the public realizes they are the driving force of all of this stuff. And it's not just manual labor. They're the guys who are creating the show with you. They're the guys who are thinking on their feet while you're on stage, trying to look good or trying to just play a song. They're making sure that every single detail of that show is all just falling into place at the right time. So they're incredibly resilient. But the thing is that when when that rug gets pulled out from underneath them, where live performance gets pulled out from underneath them, I think that they had to rethink. I know lots of guys out there who are like who were making guitar cases now, who are making like toys, who are they know how to adapt, they know how to survive, they're tough. But like most people in the industry, there's just so many facets to this music industry that people don't know. The people who who run the doors, the people who print the t-shirts, the people who come up with designs, the truck drivers, the crews, the lighting techs, the riggers. Riggers will come in at the end of the night and we do these big concerts, major concerts, and walk away and jump in our cars and drive home, and these guys come down in the pouring rain, tear the show down and have it ready to go by the next day. So 100 kilometers away or 500 kilometers away, and in the old days it used to be 1,000. So there's incredible people out there who we're all part of this thing. But I do believe that they're pretty resilient. But I know a lot of my friends out there who are, and this includes musicians who are just battling, really struggling to make ends meet at the moment. I love being with Mushroom and I love being with Liberation because I've got Warren Costello in there and Michael Gudinski, and both of them are so passionate about what they do. They can drive everything in that company from their enthusiasm. It's amazing. So Michael's always been, he's one of the few people who's got, probably more energy than me. He's like, when I've worked with him for, 35 years, 40 years now. And he's a guy who's just unstoppable. No matter what the world throws at him, Michael picks himself up and charges at it. When this isolation came, not only did he think about how can I get music to people, because he knows how, he's a music fan and he knows how important music is to people's lives, but he went beyond that and he thought, music has been isolated for a while. Trying to draw that long bow to say it was comparable to Anzac Day was a big one, because we weren't in the trenches, we weren't being shot at, we weren't fighting for our country, but we were fighting for something else. It was definitely a fight for something else. I think it was symbolically, it was a good thing that we were trying to pull not only our industry but the public together and just let everybody know to lean on each other and if you need help, turn to each other for like get on the Zoom and stay in contact with your friends. A lot of people when we first started isolating, really, because the Zoom and even FaceTime, people weren't really connecting as much as they should, and I think the process of things like Music from the Home Front have made people realize there's other ways of reaching out and touching people. I like to get up in the morning, I get up in the morning and I have a cup of coffee, and then I look at the hardest thing I've got to do that day, and that's what I do first. The rest of the day is easy then. For years and years and years, I carried so much baggage with me, and I was brought up, my father's a boxer, we were tough Scottish stock, and you didn't ask for help. It was unmanly. you know. And I've said this on stage and we're doing those book tours and stuff. I think the most courageous thing I've ever done in my life was to say I need help. And I think that, and it takes strength to do it. You know, there is still a big stigma attached to mental health, and mental health has so many. You know, you don't have to be. You know, I used to think if you were seeing a therapist, you were crazy. You know, but really, if you're seeing a therapist, you're very smart. You know, it's a good thing to do. And I think that we all need to reach out. And it's not only just you seeing therapists. You know, it's talking to your friends. It's talking to your partners. It's not isolating. You know, like, you know, even in this time, you don't have to isolate. You can talk to people. And I think that connection and just having that people who can just sort of, you know, just say it's not that bad. You know, I've felt that. You know, if somebody says that to you, suddenly a whole weight gets lifted off your shoulders. I just think it's really important. I honestly believe that the stuff that I've spoke to my therapist about and the stuff that he's sort of helped me with is you know, something that probably kids in high school should be having. There should be a class a week like this, like almost like a therapy. And I thought the same thing when I went to rehab years ago, and the basic stuff about self-worth and about finding your own strength is stuff that we really need to be taught at an early age, and that's going to translate into a whole lot of other, that help solve a whole lot of other issues we had. You know, the whole manhood thing that's going on. You know, men don't feel entitled. Men feel scared. Yeah. Men are, you know, and we have to just learn to be able to live within ourselves and relax. And I think talking is the best way to do it. You know, getting out. You know, I think it's really important in times like that you keep exercising too. You've got to keep your heart, your body, and your mind all going at once. You know, I really try to keep as busy as I can. I've found, you know, in this time of isolation, I've been more creative than I have for years. It's been a godsend to me. And I remember sitting here at the start of it, kind of, you know, tapping my fingers and wondering, you know, what am I going to do? And then I haven't stopped. You know, I've written a book, I've written songs, I'm learning guitar. I'm learning bagpipes. You know, this is you know, I used to play bagpipes when I was you know, 8 years old. I started learning, and I've picked it up again. And I'm just, you know, and all I want to do, because I said this for years, I want to walk up and down my house at midnight, you know, driving the neighbors nuts, playing bagpipes, you know, just because it makes me feel like a Scotsman. But there's, you know, there's all, so there's so, and I'm reading great books, and you know, I picked up the guitar again. It's just been a really creative time. Sleeping and not recovering is really good. If you can get some natural good sleep, I think it really does help. When you wake up in the morning and there's problems you've had that you went to bed, things take a lot clearer, you know, a lot clearer and a lot easier to solve. There's nothing out there really that can't be solved, and anything that can't be solved, you just have to face and deal with. So I think as tough as this is, I think there's ways to make it better. And one of the great things that we're so lucky that this is happening now, because we have these computers, we have the phones, everybody can stay connected, everybody can talk to someone. You know, Jane and I, for instance, have started doing, you know, we started very early. We've done about 80 now. We do a song every night, and we just send it out, you know, on the Twitter sphere, and then, you know, on Instagram and Facebook and all that sort of stuff. And that connection alone has really, you know, I know I've spoke to people, you know, or they've sent messages that we're saying how, now because of this, they're in contact with their families overseas. They're in contact with them, you know, in Northern Territory. I think people are starting to really, because of things like Homefront, really reaching out, finding better ways to reach out to others. Because we're isolated doesn't mean we're alone. At the start, it was just sort of a bit of fun, and Jane was starting to learn. Jane's incredible. She's played a little bit of guitar over the years, not much, but from the lockdown time, I gave her a guitar that was really nice guitar that she liked, and I gave it to her, and she sat and she's practiced for hours and hours every day. She loves it. She's actually a much better guitar player than me. You know, I wanted to make music with her just for us, and then we thought, oh, well, you know, we'll post this one and see what people, and we just picked songs. You know, I sang everything from Elvis Presley to Doris Day on these little jam sessions we have, and every single song we do, someone out, you know, we I think from you know, the first one, we've done about nearly 80 songs now, and I think we've reached like 75 million people That's the connections we've had. And I've had so many people that, you know, these songs, which I do just because there's something that reminds me of something in my childhood, or Jane says, oh, I love this. And then the melody connects with you. These songs all connect with people. And I get people saying, you know, oh, this is the song that my mum sang. I haven't heard this song in 45 years. My mum used to sing it while she was cooking, or, you know, and I'm going, they're just beautiful melodies. And so the music, I started off just to entertain ourselves, but it's still something that we, every night we get something from, you know. And Jane and I, we're like normal people. I mean, it all looks all nice and happy and rosy. We have fights. But then we'll just shake it off and we'll go and play a song, and it balances us again. So, you know, we're hopefully, the people are saying that's what it does for them. It helps settle them, and it helps, you know, it brings back good memories and helps them get through the isolation. And it's exactly what it's doing for Jane and I. This is a big country to, you know, to be able to connect and tour. You know, it costs a lot of money. And, you know, I remember in the old days, you know, I had to bring up the C word, but Countdown used to be on, you know, and literally, you know, coaches were playing 8 shows a week, like I said, and one performance on Countdown got us to, you know, a double our audience. You know, people have been trying to get, you know, variety shows up, and they come up and they fall and they get their budgets cut, and they you know, they'll get it, you know, a couple of shows and they're gone. So he not only used the time to create the music from the home front, which is a one-off thing, but could see beyond that to think, I'm going to use this as a stepping stone to get a live music television show that will be on every week. You know, I mean, the industry really needs it. You know, and this is what I think young, indie, unsigned, even young bands that are signed need, is to be able to connect to an audience. And Michael to have the foresight and you know, I know he has his own reasons for doing it. I know he can make money from bands, and because but he loves music. This is what Michael's always, for me, you know, we've had fights, and we're like family, you know. But I know with Michael, the driving force behind, you know, him all the time is his enthusiasm for music and life. I hope that that when it's going to take, I don't know when it's going to be, you know, we're all planning tours and we're all planning things. You know, I've like I said, I've written a book. I've written some songs. I've started a project with the Australian Chamber Orchestra that we're doing. So I've got all sorts of different things on the go. I hope that from this isolation, we all start thinking out of the box a bit more. And so we're not just this is what we do. You just pick it up and then you go out and you go and talk to a million people in you know, radio, and then there are different ways to skin cats, and we're all learning how to do it now. And I hope the whole industry learns, because there's a lot of great talent out there that still slips, you know, by, and people don't catch it. Everybody out there is learning how to get their voice heard, and how to look and find new material, because there's a lot of different ways to find music rather than just, you know, I'm nothing against radio, but nothing than mainstream radio. There's a lot of acts for years have been using, you know, different platforms to get their music seen. And I think the public has caught up on a lot of during this isolation. So I hope that the music business grows, learns more ways to do this, and that we continue to play live, and we realize, and we don't forget after this all clears up the importance of live music and how much we missed it.